Hey, it's Shapes, and welcome to another expedition of the Anime Encyclopedia. I'm a bit early, but that's okay. I'm gonna go for about 3 hours, specifically, and then go to bed, because I have an early morning tomorrow, waking up like 5:30. I want to say 5:30, leave at 6. Takes me about 90 minutes to drive up to Boston, so that would be 7:30 when I get there. Another 10 minutes. Hopefully I can get there around 7:45, 8. And I have a whole hour in case something happens. Is the idea. Hello, Kinoko. Hello, Greg. Hello, Weird Proc. Good to see you again. Fellas. I got something really cool. Well, I tweeted about it, but... all 20 volumes of Ashita no Joe gifted to me by Shaggart. Really great guy. He had a Japan trip, developing his connections, making his way downtown, walking fast. So that's exciting. I'm just gonna leave that here. Probably not, actually. Maybe not a good idea. I'll have to go get some takeout soon. That's a good idea, Greg. I finished Tenchi TV. Okay. Are you planning on watching all of Tenchi, or, like, the stuff Hazel recommended? Because that's kind of going to be my play. I think I'm going to go OVA and, like, some of the movies. But I don't know if I'm checking out show. Let me know what you think. Hey, Annaliso. Hello, Pyramid Inu. Good to see you. 3 hours is exactly what I'm doing a watch-along of Lupin Part 1 with some people. Nice. Watch both your digest and that Monogatari vid. Yeah, it's a pretty good one from Ermi. Gosh darn. Awesome. Gonna do Friday Night Magic an hour per week. Yeah. But yeah, so like, they're in really good quality. Like very shiny and everything. And then the pages are, you know, yellowed a bit. But like, makes sense. I think this is still kind of a, not like a recent printing or anything. I have to see. I'm looking at the back. Copyright stuff. Which, you know. I'm looking at the final page right now. Oh my god. Good manga! Printed in Japan. ISBN. It doesn't really have a... Yeah. It doesn't have like an edition printing or anything like that. The One Piece volumes I have from Viz have that. Oh my gosh. Wow. But this is really great for me. I personally really am looking forward to using these for a particular video idea. You know, would become a video, but it would be a stream series. So I have 2 ideas for stream series, not both having to do with Joe. One of them is... Well, I won't say what... I've said it before. Whatever, I'll spill it a little. I'm intending the next stream series after the Encyclopedia is done, and I want the Encyclopedia to be done by November. Like, the video's out and done by November is my goal. But the next stream series after that would be a comparison, a dub versus sub comparison. Because... You know, we ever go dub versus sub all the time, but no, I don't know any projects or studies that directly compares the dub versus sub of an anime line by line and like quantitatively proving that the dub is better than the sub. You know? Like, actually going through it line by line. And I would be hopefully doing that with a movie, not a show, because the show is ridiculous. It's 4. Well, I guess it's just 2 movies, really. If you're doing a 1-core, if you're doing like a 13-episode show, that'd be about 2 movies worth. But I would go with a movie. But yeah, that's one of my ideas I've had for a long time. It was actually the first idea I had for a series like this to do on like streaming my researching process. And then the other one, and I've played with the formatting a little bit, but you know, I have to refine it. And this will certainly help. Now that I have a physical manga, I want to maybe see about having an overhead camera or something and physically opening the book and looking through it and stuff. Because I do think an experience of manga that's important that not a ton of people really take into account, really, is the page turn and the really feeling like it's a full page. Like this. Like that aesthetic. If you're scrolling one page at a time downwards, that's not really what the authors intended. And there's an appeal to like, what's the next thing you see? Look at this. Oh my gosh. Oh, that makes sense. Right, okay. Because in this particular instance, this is interesting actually. This is a cover page for the chapter. You know when it comes out in the magazine, right? The thing is, right, in like, at least in the time Ashino Joe was published, they didn't really delineate chapters. They didn't go chapter 1, chapter 1099, whatever, like One Piece does or what most modern manga do. So then when the tankobon, or maybe they did, but then the tankobon doesn't necessarily have that. You don't see a table of contents in here. It's just the first page and then like a little author's note, and then just jumps right into it. So none of you actually can't tell. You can guess, but you really can't tell where the chapters begin and end. It's all one continuous volume, and that's certainly the case in like if you read it online. For Joe at least, they're just volume 20, and it's all one go. But like in that instance I mentioned, it's interesting because there's a little bit of a disconnection or something weird, but you get it if you understand the context of where it came from. So where was it? I just happened to flip to it, and okay, yeah. So like in this scene here, Jose is getting his first knockdown from Joe, and then the next page he's up still and he has this contact with Joe, and that's when I think this is the scene when Jose is realizing the light in Joe's eyes has a particular quality to him, and he goes kind of berserk. But watch what happens when you flip the page. It's a 2-page spread of Jose being down. And in this particular instance, it's not great for the binding. But this is, how most people would be reading it at the time. But the first thing is a 2-page spread. And he's down. So that's an interesting experience, I think. And then comparing... So this would be a manga to anime comparison. And to be perfectly fair, I've not physically sat down and read all of Joe. I've seen plenty of bits, and I've skimmed in places here and there to see what the manga does. And I've had enough. I've tried, and I've had enough instances where it was like, oh, that's original to the anime, where I'm like, I just prefer the anime. And so I do want to have more of a complete go through, and that would be a much longer series. It's 20 volumes, 100 and something episodes. So yeah, that'd be something. Would love Ashino Joe anime and Blu-ray. Same. Tenchi Universe is the TV version I recommend best one. Oh yeah? I think I'll watch all pre-2000 Tenchi, maybe part 3 of the OVA. I've seen TV and OVA 1 and 2 so far. Movies are next. Do you know if the anime follows the manga closely? Joe, it does not. It does not. It's close enough. Like, it's an adaptation for sure. But there's a lot of differences. There's a lot of, like, specific addition. It's mostly additions. They don't cut anything, really. There's a big cut. There is a big cut. But that is only... That's a very specific case. Because Joe's adaptation is a little weird. Because they stopped at a certain point. Instead of having filler, which they did a little bit of anime original filler. Instead of doing that, they stopped like a year before the manga ended. A year or two. And then 9 years later, they came back and finished the adaptation. And not just the part that they stopped at, because there's overlap content. The anime overlaps in adaptation. So Joe 2 starts at like effectively the halfway point, the time skip. There's like a 6-month time skip. But Joe 1 covers that over. It goes a little further than the time skip, so there's a bit of overlap content. And what happens is like there's kind of a mini arc, or you could say it's an arc, of that is adapted in Joe 1, but they cut in Joe 2. In my opinion, for the better, but still. I think I'll even watch Pretty Sammy. Pretty Sammy's good. Both the OVAs and TV show. I think I like the first OVA best so far. Okay. Takes a bit of time. Tenchi feels like something I should rewatch all the dub at some point. Oh yeah. Hey Glowworm, good to see you. And usually it's probably like the highlighted chart that changes unless it's way different from Kamen Rider Week. Yeah. Physicality, yeah. That guy in Psychopath said he likes touching parchment. I like touching parchment. Yeah. Yeah, I was reading Wonder 3 and was wondering about when the chapter ends, only flipping through realizing there's no chapters, just 3 books. Yep. Same thing with Nausicaa. There actually actually isn't the case with Nausicaa. It's 7 volumes, and in those big books, it's they divide the volumes in those two omnibus volumes. They delineate the volumes, but they don't delineate chapters. So it's the same idea. Love those full pages spreads you showed. I only remember 2-page spreads with when one comic guy said they were overdone. But this is definitely proof they're intentional parts of the medium. Hassan was on Trash Chase. He probably hates anime. He says it. He's one of those like difficult tsundere fans, right? Where he's like, I don't really like it. So being kind of high and mighty. Because he was like, specifically with One Piece, because he was just like hating on One Piece a lot, and he's like, One Piece is kind of good. It's one of those things. But I couldn't even stomach the track. I listened to maybe 15 minutes of it, but I had to stop at some point. It was just too insufferable. Just because like they're being like Garnt, Joey, and Connor, they're not as normy as they're making out to be. But I think because of the broadness of their audience and to if they want more success, continued sustained success, they kind of need to water themselves down and kind of talk down to their guests. Not talk down to their guests so much, but like, I don't know, watering down their thoughts. They have their opinions, but like, opinions on food is like very clearly that's just you, and it's people can laugh and you can be serious about that, and that's fine. But I think they realize, especially because they joke about how much they don't talk about anime on the podcast, and that's intentional because like they don't really get good feedback or good. It's pushback, but not in a good way. In a way that's like, dude, you're kind of actively harming our discourse. I think. I always think they know better than this, but it's because they're in a podcast format and they're talking off the cuff. Not to mention how high profile. I don't know if that gets to them. Maybe it doesn't. But like, I don't know. They let their guests say some weird things about anime that's just sort of like, come on. But like, I get it. I would probably be a similar way if I was just trying to be nice. I don't want to be a dick that's like, oh, Dragon Ball's actually pretty good, actually. As weird as that is, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to be a dick and say that it's good. No, like, I don't know. I don't want to be actually them. I literally had like a roommate of mine. My roommate, he isn't as much into anime, and but he knows about it, and he's getting a toad, and we were spitballing different names, and he's like, I'd call him Ken, but I don't really think that's a good name for a toad. And I'm like, are you referring to Kenshiro from Hokuto no Ken? Because that's like his full name, and that's a pretty good name for a toad, Kenshiro. And he's like, oh, I meant Fist of the North Star. And then later he's like, oh, right. Like he couldn't recognize it, and I didn't even think. I just said Hokuto no Ken, and I was like, oh, so. But he's cool about it. He's a really great guy. But yeah, it's sort of just my power level is sometimes it gets to me. I don't really don't want to dig into that content heat trap. Okay, I recently finished the first season of Joe. That's interesting to know. Yeah, okay. You'll hop in pretty quick with Joe too. I hope you enjoy that. But you'll get the gist of it pretty quick, and then it's like You know what? I'm actually okay that they didn't take all that time to do that arc. I'm kind of okay with it. That sounds like the type of coward. The whole I only like the good anime, like Supernomi anime. Right. No, but like actually, there's sort of like a lot of like a bulk of people that are just trying to like, they kind of have this thing about, oh, Naruto's not that good actually. Oh, Dragon Ball's not that good actually. I don't know. And also there's this attitude that like I don't want to be too hard on them. Like it's casual. It's fine. They can think that. But like I've been listening to Hazel's Q&A for patrons, and I feel like her attitude towards certain media, as well as her wife, about like, oh, this thing's so bad, but I like it. It's like, well, then it's not bad, right? You know, like there's definitely something there, and I don't know. And I think they have they were talking about this kind of interesting dichotomy of like this struggle of liking and hating something at the same time. I guess mixed feelings is fine and interesting, but it's sort of like you can be mixed about it. But I don't know, the flippancy of declaring something as bad and yet you're enjoying it. It just seems weird to me because I feel like that's a oxymoron. If it's entertaining you, it's doing its job. That's the point of the media. You know? And like, I don't want to make this blanket statement of like media should entertain you, and if it doesn't, it's bad or something. I guess I'm saying that. But I mean, like, entertainment can come in all different colors. Uncut Gems is stressful and exhausting, but it's great entertainment. You know, because it puts you in that feeling of that they want you to feel that, right? It's not a bad movie because it made you feel those things. But like, I think that there's a failure when the media doesn't make you feel anything. When there's no, I don't care, you know. When it's like, or bored. Boredom is the worst. It's just the worst, and that's really my metric and gauge when I'm experiencing media. If something's boring me, I want to be transparent about that, But then, don't be quick to blame the media. Think to yourself, okay, is it just because I'm distracted by something? I'm not in a good mood? Is it with someone I'm with? Am I thinking about something else? What's bothering me about it? Or why isn't it engaging with me? And that's why it's hard to kind of pinpoint mid, because sometimes it's probably not the media's fault at all. It's just you not engaging with it. So that's why I've kind of tried to turn adjust my wording on whether what do you think of this thing? I thought it was good, or I liked it. I know I liked it is such a dumb basic thing to say, but I think it's better than to try to make a judgment call on something. I want to report on how I felt because I was there and I had an emotional reaction to it. And that's what I want to tell you, but like, I don't need to make a judgment call on the movie itself because I didn't make the movie. Not that you have to, I don't know. It's like I don't have that perspective. All I did was watch it, and I wasn't there for the whole thought process of the whole thing, and I only saw it once. And also, like, you could have a completely different experience from me. So it's sort of like, and that's why the Rotten Tomatoes thing, it's an aggregate. It's multiple people, and then patterns tend to emerge. It, like, 5 times out of 10, critics aren't liking this movie, That's all. They've completely been pigeonholed in their anime irony marketing, and they probably stuck. I kind of feel that way, yeah. Being nice is what got us bullied down, but fighting back got us bullied harder. Interesting. I can't really watch Trash Station anymore. When they talk about anime, it sucks, and I don't care enough about food or whatever. It's so much the non-animes. Food or whatever. I like them a lot. I still listen to them occasionally. And I always check out their specials. Those are fun. They do a good job. Yo, good to see Holy Pig. I'm looking forward to their the VOD of their live show. I'm really interested in that. Yo, what's up? Teaser for the new Hibiki Euphonium movie just dropped. Hit the pillow! No, I'm sorry. Okay. I gotta, reevaluate the Hibiki. I don't know if that was just not in the right mindset when I first watched it. Does not hit for me. Liz hit for me. Liz and the Bluebird was my jam. It's probably my favorite KyoAni. I'm thinking about KyoAni. I actually haven't seen that many KyoAni, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, I think it's my favorite. Yeah. From what I've seen, I think Liz is my favorite KyoAni thing. It's true. Trash taste has become so mainstream, they can only play to the normie surface-level discussion, including the old self-deprecation coming back. Did we ever talk about Okami-san and her 7 companions? Don't know. I think we did. Yes, they liked it. Yes, they did. They did mention it. I think they said that they liked the. Few recent shows have played with the interface between truth and fiction, reality and fantasy so well. Yeah, they like it. Guilty pleasure was a mistake. Yeah. We haven't, but I did have interest way back because it looked like Taiga. If you stick to only the good stuff, you're going to miss so many great things. Yeah. It's just all in your mindset. You can enjoy something that's like a 6 out of 10 and be like, I don't feel like I wasted my time at all. Because I feel like that mindset can be kind of toxic, don't you think? If it's like, no, it's not an 8 out of 10, my time, no! You don't know how much time left you got. You just don't. You just don't. You also don't know how much more time you're going to be interested in this thing. And that's just going to come naturally. Really. You won't even... It will sneak up on you. Suddenly you haven't watched anime in months. Some of you. Any of you relate? I certainly know some mutuals. I'm not allowed to like guilty anime. Guilty anime. So we call it So Bad It's Good. No, I really think if you enjoy Garzy's Wing for how funny bad the dub is or something, then you enjoyed Garzy's Wing and you think it's good. And that's fine. I didn't enjoy Garzy's Wing, not because of bad writing! It was boring. It was boring. It was kind of funny when it gets to those dub parts, but most of those are in episode 1. 2 and 3 are snooze fests, dude. Gramerson and Bordeaux theory on people putting social status value on specific media consumption strikes again. I know one mutual is constantly double-checking his mental state as it affects his enjoyment on watching for fun. Yeah, that's fair. Aesthetic quantitative measuring was a mistake. Bring back romantic poetic critique. You're throwing big words at me, Annalisa. All my reviews have one of 3 ratings. Acceptable enough to finish, I liked it, and I loved it. Kind of like the Cold Stone sizes. Yeah, Holy Pig, my ratings are great, good, meh, and awful on Kitsu. It's got the 4 smiley faces rating. And I will stand by that no matter how much ridicule I get. Ironically opposite for Liz and Hibiki, but I prefer the character band camp drama to the extended parallel storybook lesbian subplots. Excuse you! I'm not even liking it because it's gay. I wasn't even thinking that. I like it for this kind of rivalry that the two of them have. This really taut relationship where this girl seems like she has it all, but really the one who has it all is the one that's looking up to her. And it's like, nah, you're the talented one. And it's like, I don't know. I like the character dynamic a lot. I just like the feel of that movie too. It feels so ethereal, and I like that I think it takes place in one day, like one session. Like the beginning of the movie, they start walking to school, and the end of the movie, they're walking away from school. I love that. I love that shit. I sometimes forget that it has this storybook connection to it. I really do. I like it for way more of the stuff than that. Eureka 7 asking for a revisiting. Sorry, I missed, so. And I have a pretty distinct idea of what happened with Eureka. So maybe I'll watch like an essay video that like, this is why it's good actually, and then be like, okay, I believe you. It's gotta be good for. And that's why I'm. It's like my L. I missed. I'm not like saying that bad show. No. Don't look at me. I only started Precure for 1 month. I say. Oh yeah, I watched all of EVK for Liz, not expecting it to be nearly as good. I'm curious because it's one of the few Q&A shows going through to season 3, and it's gonna have mostly new production team. Yeah. My main issue with Garzy's Wing is just so much shouting. 3/5 of Garzy's Wing novels have been translated so far, interesting the real story after all these years. Yeah, hopefully they get to that. I also haven't seen Dunbine, so maybe it has... I watched it before I had seen Dunbine. So maybe there is something of like, I don't care what's going on because I just don't know. But if I care, then maybe there's something to that. My ratings are 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and 4. And under 4 and under is this sucks. Yeah. In different varieties. Yeah. Well, fellas, I think that's about enough of that. Talking. Who has time to talk? Pervs on a Train is a title that I just saw. Cool. Looking forward to it. Let's see. Let's finish PE. There's a lot of PE. Oh my god, there's so much PE actually. Is it all PE? No, there's PR. So much scrolling, god. Where? There it is. Boop, boop. Okay, there's a PO. A lot of PO. Okay. Yeah, I'll go by letter. Let's do PE. PL. Let's see how many PEs there are. PI. PH. PE. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I already read that one, so 9. I already read that one, so 8. 9. 9 still. Hold on, 9 still. There's 10, 11, 12, 13. 24. There's 24 PEs. Oh, forget that. Okay. I don't know what the... Whatever. The total. Tittle. Total. 24 entries. PE is the idea. Okay. And maybe I change the stream to that. Hold on, before I forget. Yeah, like that. Yeah, like that. Thanks all for coming in. And we're off. Peace Haim. Okay. Peace Haim is our first entry from 2012. I'm intimidated by this stack of... Hold on. This is just a stack of books right next to me. I'm gonna move those. 1 sec. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh! Perfect timing. The music has looped. It's time to read. Peace Haim. Oh my god, there's so much trash. I have to get the book, sorry. Okay. Oh god. I'm a mess. Porn. At least I understood what it was this time. You guys weren't here for last stream. They just fucking don't even try to explain what this fucking... hentai is, and then it's like, why is it in this book? Peacemaker Kurogane from 2003. I got a little bit more to say about this one. They're like describing every single character. They're just like giving characterization for everybody. This is a long article. Okay. Yeah, they've kind of given a positive opinion about it. Not too specifically, but yeah, it's fine. Broad comedy, violent action, and vivid characterization helps maintain interest. The color palette gives a period feel without looking too much like a history lesson. Okay. Okay. Cool. Peach. Eats. Colored Sisters. We're gonna have to return to Seth, the programmer, as the Teflon Don. Even Keemstar didn't take him down. No one gave enough of a shit. Who cares? People should care. I think what's important is that those stories got out. Those people cut ties with Seth. Hopefully he can't harm more people, but that, like, at the end of the day, there's only so much people can do without taking actual legal action, which would cost a lot of money, investment, and time. You know, hopefully he doesn't. I hope nothing worse happens. That's all I can say. From 1998, Peach Colored Sisters. It's a workplace comedy. Cute. I'm not familiar with it, but somehow the premise makes me kind of want to watch it. Oh, I like the art. It's cute. Pretty good ratings, actually, all things considered. Interesting they didn't bring up Akahori. They usually have the dog against that guy. Wait, what? Oh yeah, there you go. Sakura works in an office. This is kind of neat. Is this a yonkama? It's a seinen. I was about to be like, oh boy, another shoujo I could possibly put on my list or whatever, because I need to watch more shoujo. Never mind. I guess it's a seinen. I'll still watch it though. I am interested. That's just such a cute image though. 8 minutes in episode 2? Wow. I am interested in peach-colored sisters. I want to Momo-iro sisters. Yeah. Does look cute. Yeah. Peacock. Well, what's the next one? Yeah, it is. Peacock King. I got a handle for this one for some reason. For some reason I can always tell that. I don't know why. Never mind. Kujaku! Peacock King. Because it's a 3-episode OVA, or like a multiple episode OVA, they're just describing each one. Returned, and doesn't need to be this long. More faithful, the franchise returned as True Peacock King in 1994 in the U.S. More faithful to Ogino's original, and it replaced the Madhouse lookalike animation of AIC with actual animation from the Madhouse studio itself, under veteran director Rintaro. His versions throw much of their budget into the movie quality opening scenes, creating impressive images that soon devolve into less expensive animation. So they do give a positive review of Peacock, specifically the Rintaro Peacock King. True. Shinjuku or New? What? It's a 5-episode OVA. And Sho Aikawa wrote episodes 1 through 3. So AIC did episodes 1 and 3, Studio 88 did 2, and then Madhouse did 4 and 5. It ran from 1988 to 1994. They do be I think they'll be say they're positive about it, or mixed, because it's a 5-episode. They don't seem to be positive on the other episodes. PK suffers in English simply through the weight of the source material. American actors working with the Japanese names for the Chinese versions of Buddhist takes on Hindu gods create a predictably confusing roster. Though translators Bill Flanagan and Yuko Sato make a heroic effort to incorporate the original Sanskrit. Okay. I'm interested though, because that was like a partially Ritaro thing. That's cool. Peephole from 2013. Wait a minute. I think this was a manga that Giga talked about. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Nozuki Anna. I think that's... Yeah. I do think that's I do think that's the one he actually talked about. That was actually pretty good. I think they'll put in people with dismissive. Peeping Life from 2008. Right. It's a computer experiment, computer animation thing using like live actors. Peckle from 1993. Oh, I didn't check the I didn't compare Peacock King to the first edition. Sorry. Oh. No, that's no, it's not a change. Okay, now we're on Perkle. Sorry. Oh, it's a Sanrio thing. Why? Ugh, the snark! The snark! You really don't need to say that. It's a joke, I get it, but like, annoying. Get it, he's a duck. They already... Actually, no, they didn't, so whatever. Again, it's just that, like, oh, we need to link it to Hello Kitty. Pelican Road Club Culture from 1986. It's a contemporary of Bomber Bikers of Shonen, Shonen Bakuzoku. It's a 55-minute thing. Eiichi Yamamoto is the Belladonna of Sadness director. A 1986 OVA directed by Eiichi Yamamoto about some delinquent. I don't really say that they're delinquents, but high school boy is crazy about his motorcycle. He and his buddies organize a motorcycle club, which they call Culture. The club is called Culture. Here we go. Oh, wow. Yeah, seems like fun. Hell yeah. Screenplay by him, too. Who did the screenplay for Belladonna? Oh, my internet. Oh. Sure hope I'm still streaming. Sheesh. Okay, I am. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, he did the screenplay for Belladonna as well. What a Chad. It is based on a manga, though, so it's like, you know, okay. Still, though, I'm interested. I got a lot of stuff I'm interested in this reading so far. Hell yeah. I guess I'm in a curious mood tonight. Let me just make sure I say it. Yamamoto. Bakuzoku. What do they say? Contemporary. It's called Culture, yo. Yeah. Very cool. I'll just also say that one is cute. And these three are from robots. I just don't remember the others here, but I'll look at them later. But let me just double check that in the book. Cool. Okay. Pendant from 1997. Wow. There's another thing about computer games here. Unlike many adaptations of games that simply dump a male protag into a sea of women in the style of Tenchi Muyo. This one, they say, this one separates the various female characters into separate stories with different male love interests, which is slightly more realistic, if no less boring. Wow. Wow. That actually sounded pretty interesting, actually. Art looks pretty cool, actually. Oh! I just saw a name. Akiya Watanabe. You know what he did? See if you can tell what artist this is by the cover art. Let's take a look. Character designs for all these things. Original character design. Bakemonogatari. Grisaya. Fireworks. The latest Monogatari series, Go and Sotsu. Yep, Kizu and all that. Nurse Witch Komugi. Oh my god. No way. That's... Well, I don't want to say, I don't know if it's ammunition I'd call it, but that's important to know. That's incredible. I can't believe it. I can't believe he's the guy that did that. There's some coordination still with the ED, but that's funny. Oh man. I gotta make sure I write that down. Ugh. That's an interesting parallel you got there. Hell yeah. Okay. And Komugi by relation. I just got back from getting takeout, so I'm behind on the video, so I'll say my rating in systems 1 to 9, 5 being smack in the middle is the worst, boring. I'd rather a 4 below, yeah. Oh, right, it's the guy who dresses as Lupin and sticks him in his anime. Yeah, that's Shinichiro Watanabe. Akiya Watanabe is the character designer for Monogatari and Komugi and other such things. Soul Taker, World God Only Knows, the latest Higurashi series, and apparently this 3-episode OVA. I'm interested in that. Neat structure. Cool. Okay. Penelope from 2006. charming kids anime. It does sound very cute. Little blue koala Penelope is rarely apart from her beloved stuffed rabbit pal Dudu. D-E-U-D-E-U. Dodo? Do. The pair and their cuddly animal friends have all kinds of small adventures, many of them caused by Penelope's absent-mindedness and carelessness. Oh, it's so precious. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's happening every installment so far. This is, I would rather this over tearing my hair out over things. Okay. I'm not gonna put that down now. I will say that they said it was charming. True? Why did I put true? I don't know. Sorry. Oh, that's not it. That's the next one. Charming kids anime. Okay, I'll read this one out loud. This is a bit of a meme. Penguin's Memory Shiawase Monogatari. Mike, a traumatized penguin who once fought in the Delta War, returns to his hometown of Lake City and takes a job as a librarian. He falls in love with Jill, a would-be singing penguin who is the daughter of the owner of the local penguin hospital. Jill meets a record producer and embarks on a successful career, but Mike waddles away alone. He has discovered that she is engaged to marry Jack, the penguin doctor, and he doesn't wish to get in the way. A film made to cash in on the unexpected popularity of a 1984 series of Suntory beer commercials that replayed famous American films such as Casablanca and The Deer Hunter, but with a cast of cartoon penguins. Okay, alright. Nothing strange about that. Alright, gotcha. Okay. Nothing too eventful about that, unfortunately. Well, let me just double check the first edition. Nothing different. Penguin's Troubles from 2008. This is truly a penguin that lays golden eggs. Just for how successful it is. Penguin Drum. I'll read this one. This is a 3rd edition, 2011. The terminally ill Himari Takakura appears to die during a visit to an aquarium, only to be resurrected, Ultraman, through the intervention of a magical hat that transforms her into the Princess of the Crystal. A little strange, but okay. I don't know. It just in this section about Penguin Drum, that just sticks out to me. I'm sorry. I'm sure that's fine, but like, yeah, I don't know. Just a weird connection there. In this new incarnation, she orders her 2 brothers, aided and abetted by 3 magical penguins, to go in search of the Penguin Drum, an unidentified artifact that supposedly holds the key to her well-being. Director Kunihiko Ikuhara has been one of the key figures in postmodern approaches to Japanese magical girls. Not a very active one, if that's the case. He's only made 4 series. He directed the 5th one. And that's not necessarily Like, they said this after he only did Utena and Penguin Drum. So, like, Yurikuma and Sarazanmai hadn't come out by this point. Ever since his landmark work in later episodes of Sailor Moon. Later seasons of Sailor Moon. He was the chief director there. Penguin Drum is a multi-layered text, readable on one level as yet another anime hokum and about spellcasting children, playing at petty theft and benign stalking in search of a vaguely defined MacGuffin. Ugh. See, this is the kind of, like, pretentiousness that these guys that sometimes they hold back, which is very nice, but, like, they're completely in their, in their pocket to do it. They do it so often. However, its infantile surfaces... Infantile? It's not that bad, jeez. Serve a far deeper purpose, with later episodes that imply its wilder flights of fancy are part of the worldviews of damaged, deluded minds trying to come to terms with terrible trauma and unbearable memories. Like Perfect Blue. The second half of Penguin Drum achieves this by... I am not going to read it yet out loud unless I know it's not spoilery. Okay, fine. The second half of Penguin Drum achieves this by veering far off the original apparent course and into a realm of metaphor and magic realism that will not surprise anyone who has seen Ikuhara's earlier Utena. In this case, the allegories and allusions are plainly to an infamous event in 1995, the AUM Shinrikyo sarin gas attacks on the Tokyo subway, perpetrated by cultists whose unwelcome self-identification as anime fans caused a long backlash against fandom in the Japanese media. Ikuhara's protagonists are hence recast in terms that will be familiar to anime viewers as the generation that has grown up since his defining Year Zero event. Not merely the generation born since Evangelion, but since the beginnings of modern-day digitally interconnected fandom, and since the day when Japan suffered the consequences of human minds that were unable to see where fiction ended and reality began. Penguin Drum deserves to be considered alongside Madoka Magica as a contemporary juxtaposition of the juvenile themes of early TV anime with the more mature interests of modern fandom, but also the ever-present concern that the latter is merely a thin veneer over the former and vice versa. I'm a little obnoxious, to be honest with you, but okay. They liked it? They really don't say much about, like, the actual qualities. They kind of are just talking about my themes, and, like, makes me think, which is okay. It's not a bad thing, but, like... I find this to be a thought-provoking idea Sorry, I've completely... About Pendant and Penguin Drum need to be... Ugh. Interests. Pendant and Penguin Drum have to be over here. Deserves to be considered alongside Madoka as a contemporary juxtaposition of the juvenile themes of early TV anime with more mature interests of modern fandom, but also the ever-present concern that the latter is merely a thin veneer over the former, and vice versa. So they're kind of talking about this this tug of war between what's like deep and thoughtful and thought-provoking and like mature and trite, and like what they say here about yet another anime hokum about spellcasting children playing at petty theft and benign stalking in search of a vaguely defined MacGuffin. I hate that sentence so much. It's just so... You know? You know, like, ugh. Ugh! A generation that can't tell fact from fiction. What? Let me reread that again. Since the beginning of... But not merely the generation born since Evangelion, 1995 sarin gas attack, but the beginnings of modern-day digitally interconnected fandom, and since the day when Japan suffered the consequences of human minds, the people that caused the sarin gas attacks, that were unable to see where fiction ended and reality began. Because they were cultists whose unwelcome self-identification as anime fans caused a long backlash against fandom in the media. Now, I've not read too deeply into the sarin gas attacks, but like, I feel like it's kind of a meme every time it's brought up now. I kind of roll my eyes at it, to be honest with you. Like, don't get me wrong, it's impactful, it's important, but it makes me wonder about other instances and other things. I don't know. But yeah, they're talking about this like it should be talked about in the same breath as Madoka Magica. I mean, they're the same age. They came out the same year. Did they? I think they did, right? I think Drum's 2011, right? Yep. It came out 2 seasons after Madoka Magica. I'm just gonna put this sentence, just bothers me. Because when they say another anime hokum about spell casting children, it just makes me feel like I take I know I shouldn't take offense at like things other people say about the media I'm watching, right? I know I shouldn't, but don't you feel that? I'm just wondering if you share this when you see people talk, Greg, when you see people kind of like shit talking Tenchi Muyo, but you're watching Tenchi Muyo right now, or going through it. Doesn't it kind of bother you? And it's okay if it doesn't. I'm not. Yeah, I am kind of looking for validation, but I guess. But like, I mean, to me, it's like I'm enjoying Sally the Witch. That's anime hokum about spellcasting children, but I'm not gonna be a cunt about it, right? Like, I don't know. It's just such a dumb attitude to have. It's reductive. It's toxic. Maybe I am making a big deal out of this, but like, the fuck's wrong with it? I don't know. And like, I don't want to disparage Penguin Drum. It's like, I think it's nice that it sets us up as this kind of approachable thing, and then it becomes a little deeper than that. But it just kind of rolls my eyes when it's just like, it serves a far deeper purpose. Like, okay. Yeah, it's rude to talk down about the things people like to spend their time with. Yeah, a little. I try to ignore a lot of stuff people say, especially if I like something people are bashing. Not having Twitter helps. That's fair, Greg. Yeah. That's a good idea. Good play. Speaking of Twitter, I just realized. Am I blocked? I just realized, because I just made the connection of just like, Helen's on Twitter, and then I was thinking, I actually haven't seen Helen tweet for a while. I think I'm following her. Or maybe I unfollowed her. I don't remember. Okay. No, I'm not following her, but that's great. I'm just seeing she's tweeting about Anime Boston. Because she's also there. Aw, taking pictures of cosplayers and stuff. That's cool. That's nice. I guess I'm happy I'm not blocked. I'm God. Sorry, I'm distracted by Twitter. I think the issue is that they're looking for things very plainly, without nuance. And I get that because they have to cover every fucking anime in this entire book. That entire book. I also realized, like, I've had the idea of the thought of the title of this video, right? I read the entire anime encyclopedia, and then last night I was thinking about it. I'm like, because I had the thought for the thumbnail too, because I was gonna buy the 3rd edition physically, and then I have like 2 books like held, and it'd be me in the thumbnail, because it's gonna be me mostly on screen for the video itself. Because what the hell do I show otherwise, right? It's a book. But then I was like, I'm holding up 2 books, and so the title I'm thinking about would be, I read the entire anime encyclopedia, period. Twice, period. Because I did. I read the entire 1st edition and I read the entire 3rd edition. I think that'd be fun. Sorry, I distracted. But you're right, no nuance. Penguin Drum doesn't come off as immediately recognizable in that way. Even if it did, what is the point of minimizing any show in that regard? Describing what a show does only gets you so far. It's about execution. That's right. That is correct. That's why it's silly to kind of thumb your nose. I don't know if that's the word for it. The turn of phrase. Like, I don't know if that's an insult in other countries. I'm sorry, but like, you know, poke fun at other at other people's expense, at other shows' expense for that. You know. Also, I'm also gonna put down, because this other weird thing that they say. I didn't finish this about spellcasting children. Playing at petty theft and benign stalking in search of a vaguely defined MacGuffin. I don't like that sentence. I just don't. I do not like them, Sam I Am. I do not like green eggs and ham. Also, director Ikuhara has been one of the key figures in postmodern approaches to Japanese magical girls. Only got his SM seasons Utena and this to go by. Like, that's not too many. I find Precure to be a little more, you know, I think there's other movements. I don't even know how many people actually would consider it in the same area. Although that's an interesting point. I like where they're thinking about this, because this is an argument I'm hopefully going to be making at some point in a future video that I want to make. I alluded to it in the last stream, so I was talking about the time time slots. Yeah, I was thinking about the time slots for Toei Magical Girls and the dynasty that they've accrued for themselves. The story of that, and part of that story has to do with shows that people wouldn't necessarily quantify as a magical girls show because it doesn't have any magical girls in it. And at the same time, it's sort of like, what is the defining factor of that? Do they have to transform? No, they don't. By the way, like, people I've seen, I tried watching the only Himitsu no Ako-chan video on YouTube right now, like the only video essay, which is the History of Magic, which I've touted as being important and everything. And like towards the beginning of the video, she says that, like, you know, it's Sally and Ako, and then Sally has transformations because she can change her clothes. No, it's not the same thing. That is not the same thing. When a magical girl transforms and it's not just an outfit change. She can then perform magic. There's a before and after thing. There's a doubleness to it. You know, Usagi can't cast any magic. Strike that. She can. When she uses her pen, she doesn't need to be Sailor Moon to use her pen to transform into different people. Ako has her own little device, right? Sally, it does not matter what she's wearing. She is constantly able to use magic. She changes her outfit with magic purely out of convenience. Because she doesn't even use doors. There's like a recurring thing with Sally the Witch where like her and her brother just don't use doors because they can just teleport through walls. Like 9 3/4 it. So they just don't use walls. And there's some moments that it's kind of random where like either they're just not paying attention or Sally does something where like it affects the wall or whatever, and that just like Cub just runs into the wall and doesn't make it through. Like she had like just to fuck with him, or sometimes or it's like it's kind of sometimes an indicator of when she's lost her magic because her parents can kind of turn her magic on and off whenever they want because they're more powerful than her, so they can kind of take away her magic. So there's some moments where she doesn't realize she doesn't have magic, so she just runs into the wall. So like, you know, she only changes her clothes out of convenience, but so like the transformation thing, Cub is usually the one who transforms into things like crows or other creatures and stuff like that and changes bodies and stuff. Sally does a lot of astral projection. And she's transformed like 1 or 2 times. She's body swapped with a princess one episode and certain things like that. But she doesn't. She's not a transformer herself. her powers have to do with that, but she's not like that. You know? And that's Akko's whole thing. The disguise aspect is Akko's entire deal. The mirror can do more things than the transformations, by the way. Very rare, like, kind of arbitrary and kind of different random rules and stuff. But, yeah. I'm sorry I'm bringing that up. Oh, by the way, Shapes, Azigan Blu-ray inbound. Finally, my complaining about us finally made it materialize. Yeah. I like how the first 4 or 5 episodes of Sally have more different kinds of magic than all seasons of Precure combined. Yeah. Yeah, and I've been keeping track specifically of Sally the Witch to see how it works. See what the magic is and how it works. Unfortunately, I do think it loses the variety over time. Because early episodes, you're right, it has stuff like potions, little magic battles at one point, summonings. Like she can like summon, she like throws a rock and it turns into a tiger that the tiger she uses to fight with. So it's literally like Pokemon almost. There's a lot of different things, but it does eventually kind of revert to she just kind of manipulates. She's a transformer. She's a transmutator or manipulator. She can make things appear, disappear, alter the effects and abilities of certain things. But you're right, even just that like kind of unlimited sort of feel is way more magical than much more variety than any magical girl show I've seen. Pretty much anything. Sakura doesn't transform, and I think the girl in Sailtail. Yes. And yet they have those vibes, right? So it's sort of like, it's not the transformation, it's not the powers. What is it? What makes a magical girl show? To me, it's comedy. To me, it's girl-centric adventure comedy. Adventure comedies. Action. It does have, Sally the Witch has plenty of slapstick as well. Action adventure comedies, but for girls. Not for girls, but like centered on girls. I don't want to say like, this is for girls, or nothing like that, because it's like, I don't know, to broadly paint this thing of like, this is for this category. Like, yeah, there are certain things where it's intended audience, but like, the best media is stuff that's going to be for everybody, or for a lot of people. And in that regard, in terms of like, what is this for? An adventure, action type of thing, comedy type of thing. There are other centered on girls. I think there are other series that you can watch that are not magical girl series that I'm almost guaranteed that you'll enjoy. Ashina no Naja is not a magical girl series in the slightest, but it does have toy tie-ins, and I'm not saying that's a core appeal of the show, or a function for magical girls or something. I mean, like, it has these things that, like, this vibe that it's like, I'll enjoy this, right? Because people aren't necessarily I'm certainly not watching Sailor Moon for the fucking transformations and fight scenes. Oh my god, they're so dull. They're like the worst part of the show because it's so formulaic and like the same thing. There are some episodes of Sailor Moon that are very good with the monster and how she deals with it, but there's very little inventiveness in that regard. But where there is inventiveness and kind of some fun stuff are all the shenanigans that lead up to that moment. And that's core. That is no different in Akko-chan or Sally the Witch or most other series I've seen. Magical Girl series I've seen. Card Captor Sakura. It was, I liked the Clo cards a lot and those sequences, but it was always a joy to seeing Sakura just living her life, interacting with her friends, being in that world. You know, that was the core appeal, I think. And when it gets to the plot, that's actually when I was losing interest. That's an interesting divide between what's considered magical girl in anime versus in visual novels. Happiness is a visual novel that's always listed as a mahou shoujo in databases, but never in anime. Really? I guess something like Little Witch Academia or Negima could also be called mahou shoujo? Yes. Definitely. I mean, one thing I will say about Little Witch Academia that I feel kind of puts it lesser for me, it's more of a fantasy series. Because another appeal for me about Magical Girl series is that they're set in a realistic, down-to-earth world. Because then you have the contrast of the magic. You know, it's sort of like, here's a mundane, everyday problem. And here's some magic to kind of spice it up, or throw a wrench in, or do something different. That's the function for it. And if Little Witch Academia is mostly set in a magical world, it is in the real world, don't get me wrong. You have all of Diana's side, and it is kind of like Hogwarts in a way, where there's the magic school and Akko's not that good at magic or whatever. Yeah, that's there, but they're not operating so much in that world. It's in the world, don't get me wrong, but it's a little more fantasy in that regard for me. Totally agree with you on Sailor Moon. I watch Sailor Moon for the comedy, but sometimes the plot gets pretty good. Like the season 1 finale. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so something to think about there. That I'll probably be arguing about not arguing, making the case for in that Toei video. Magical Girl stuff. Anyway, gotta keep reading. Whatever. Penguin Drum. Perfect Blue is the next first article. Okay, so Pepelo, Boy of the Andes, is from 1975. Let's see if the book's got it. Pepelo. Andres. Let me just look for the in Japanese. Andres. Anderson, Android, and Andre. Nope. I think this is a new entry. Pepelo no Boken. With a certain resemblance with 3,000 Leagues. Reasonable success in Europe, but largely eclipsed. Eclipsed again! And this one doesn't even make fucking... How much sense does this make? When does Mysterious Cities of Gold come out? 1982! Like 7 years later. Which revisits many of its themes. Perhaps the strangest name in on the credits, though, is lyricist Kazuo Umezu. Lyricist. Wow. The title sounds like a spoof of Heidi Girl of the Alps. It's it also sounds Pepelo Boy of the Andes. You're right, Heidi Girl of the Alps. And then it is it's also 3,000 Leagues in Search of Mother, which is the second Isao Takahata World Masterpiece Theater thing. Technically the first. Okay, I know Heidi is technically not part of WMT, but you know what I mean. Okay. Big one. Obviously big article and more important title. Perfect Blue. I'll be comparing the first edition as well. Singer Mima Kirigoe leaves the pop trio Cham to become a serious actress. Her change in careers causes a slow decline into madness as forces conspire to keep her... I'm sorry, I'm reading the two together. Conspire to keep her from changing her public persona. to the extent of interfering directly in her private life. Matters aren't helped by a murderous stalker, egged on by emails from someone claiming to be the real Mima. Eventually, I'll be careful here. Okay, they don't spoil it. Eventually, Mima's hold on reality is thoroughly undermined as she sinks into the mother of all neuroses. And she's not on her own. This film is told from the viewpoints of 3 characters, and each of them is going slowly insane. Based on a novel by Yoshikazu Takeuchi, and originally planned as a live-action film, Perfect Blue features obvious influences from Hitchcock's Vertigo, Stage Fright, and Dario Argento's Suspiria. But it has ultimately a less bleak and more humane agenda. Murai's script, which adds the film within a film double bind to really confuse matters, remains one of anime's best since Kazumori Ito's For Pot Labor. The obsessive fan stalker, who is merely a red herring in the novel, is given a succession of actual murders to perform in the anime version. Though the blurred lines between fantasy and reality is one of Perfect Blue's greatest achievements, the director deliberately cut all transition shots that signified dream sequences or flashbacks, leaving the audience floundering in a confused world cleverly matching the protagonist's own. Kon, the former animator on the surreal JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, who created environments full of faux live-action clutter in Rosen Z, makes a virtue of a limited animation budget, depicting crowd scenes with empty faces and playing up the ghostly pallor of fluorescent lighting. The cinematography is gorgeous, as loving a rendition of real-life contemporary Tokyo as the dark, glittering forward projection of the city in Akira, whose creator Katsuhiro Otomo has a production credit for introducing the producers to his protege Kon. Although some press releases implied his involvement in Perfect Blue was far greater. The increasing influence of the internet and cyber reality on mass perceptions is seriously examined here and further explored on TV in Serial Experiments Lane. But Perfect Blue is also strong on traditional story values, beautifully paced plot development, and a craftsman's ability to subvert the conventions of the medium. Most notable and controversial remains a scene in which Mima's character is raped, played out as a pastiche of The Accused from 1988, but continually taunting the viewer with the question of whether this time it is really for real. The prosaic movements of lights and camera and the whispered apologies of the actor playing one of the rapists, who has to stay in position during a shooting break, heighten the surreality precisely because they remind us that Mima is being assaulted in a quote-unquote respectable professional context. Later in the movie, she is attacked for real. They actually changed the word attack to assault in the 3rd edition. The English version is excellent despite some inevitable losses in translation. Japan may look like every other modern, industrialized, media-led country, but both language and social interaction are hugely important in this tale of fishes out of water. Some of the bowing, scraping, and statement of the obvious culturally in an attempt to integrate oneself by appearing more clueless than the next person just seems insincere with American voices. Mima's oft-repeated "Who are you?" loses some of its clout when lip-syncing considerations forces the actress to add a mitigating "excuse me." The English dub also loses an extra level of emphasis. Two scenes when Mima slips into her native dialect, demonstrating to the Japanese audience that not even the girl who we see in private is the real Mima. The city girl next door, whom the fans worship, is actually another mask. A pretty country maid who forgets... Sorry if I'm flopping between two things. A pretty country maid who forgets her elocution lessons when mom phones from back home. This shift is also heard in the film's final line, when Mima announces that she is herself at last, and uses her native accent, not the well-spoken Tokyo dialect she's been taught to use on TV. Despite these minor cavils, Perfect Blue remains one of the best anime of the late 1990s. The remake rights were optioned by director Darren Aronofsky, who lifted a shot from the film of Mima crouching in her bathtub for his live-action movie Requiem for a Dream. And they added his thing about Black Swan, and returned to many of the film's thematic concerns and stylistic flourishes in Black Swan. Added Darren Aronofsky's Black Swan. Parallels. Director Kohn and writer Murai would return with another peek behind dramatic masks, Millennium Actress. Sequences from Perfect Blue were shown on stage by Madonna as part of her Drowned World concerts in 2001. And then they added the live-action movie Perfect Blue, If This Was a Dream, Wake Me Up from 2002, is based on a later book of the series, and is not the one that informed the anime production. Added bit about O2 live-action movie that is based on a later book in the series. Positive, of course. One of the best anime of the late 1990s. I've read Perman, and I've read Persona. We've now caught up to where we were last time. Oh, god damn it. Peplo. Alright. Perverted Thomas. Okay. Sly nod to Thomas the Tank Engine. Gotcha. Pervs on a Train. From 2007. Okay. Enough what I was expecting. Okay. This is where I was trying to get to last stream. And now we're an hour 42 into this. So that would have been a bad idea. Okay, so let me read this one out loud. Oh, surprised to see you on. How did AB treat you today? I didn't go today. I'm going tomorrow. I didn't want to really pay for hotel and all that jazz. So I'm driving up tomorrow morning. I'm waking up at 5:30, leaving at 6, getting to my panel by then is the idea. I'll tweet about where it is and the locations and stuff like that, and reminder and everything after I stream. But the comforting thing is I'm in Sheridan. I'm in Panel Constitution A. So if you're staying at that hotel, you don't have to wait in line at the Heinz Center. There shouldn't be any lines to get to where I am. So, should be okay. But yeah, we'll see. I gotcha. I thought you'd already headed that way. Yeah, I will soon. In a few hours, actually, in just like less than 10 hours, basically. Yay. Yeah. Ejected from his no pets accommodation for taking in stray cats. This is, yeah. Sorata Kanda ends up in the shabby Sakura Hall, a dormitory for no-hopers. However, he soon discovers that despite their odd habits, questionable interpersonal skills, and hard luck stories, many of the residents are masters or mistresses of their chosen craft, including a womanizing writer, a genius animator, and an idiot savant computer programmer. Mashiro Shina is an artist newly returned from England and so self-absorbed and pampered that she cannot cook, clean, or care for herself. England can have that effect on people. This is a parentheses. England can have that effect on people. Just ask anyone who has written an encyclopedia of Japanese cartoons. Nice dig on yourselves there. Rare. Maybe it's not rare. It feels rare, I'm not gonna lie. Well, we'll see you at Oda for sure if you're there. At my planned show for the year. Yeah, that's fair. I'm probably not, unfortunately. I just got stuff happening this summer. But you know, I mean, I do at some point want to see about the possibility of a convention circuit. Looking into that and going on that road, you know. I don't know how financially possible that is, but you know, I have to look into it. By looking into it, ask somebody. But, yeah. Luckily, Sarada is available to care for her in a bizarre codependent arrangement, which soon becomes an even odder love triangle. If you fed Meizonokoku through a hypothetical modern-day ruination machine, ruination machine, that took good old ideas and turned them into crappy new ones, you might well end up with something like this, pandering without pause to what Gundam creator Tomino has decried as an autistic artistic consciousness. What? Is he referring to Pet Girl specifically? Or is that a quote that you pulled in some other context? I kind of want to look that up. Let's, I think I'll eat it now. I think I'll do that now. Jeez. Tomino. Artistic consciousness. And the first thing, and the only things that come up is Anime Encyclopedia and Anime a History. What? Okay, so in Anime a History, file loading. Let me see how Clements frames this. So Clements is the one that pulled this quote, but it's weird I'm not finding it anywhere else. Time to go to bed, old man. What? Gonna need the sauce for that one. My reaction to this entry, what the fuck? Gonna need context for that. This anime definitely has its issues, but it was overall good. Okay. I'm still waiting on that file loading. I don't really but like, I'm not kidding. I looked it up and it only shows Anime History, Anime Encyclopedia, which is that exact quote with the Gundam creator Yoshida, pet girl Sakura So, and Anime History. He has it at some point. He brings that quote up at some point, but I don't know where or when. Let's move on. What else do they say? Pet Girl of Sakura So is feel-good fiction for the hikikomori shut-in generation, suggesting that every group of losers and no-hopers has a redeeming feature or talent, and that quirkiness now includes borderline mental illness. But it has ever been thus in anime romance, and they cite Jubei-chan the Ninja Girl. Okay. And indeed, the idea of life in a fan-friendly hug box has been approached in a far better manner in works such as Princess Jellyfish. I don't mind the compliment towards Princess Jellyfish. I like Princess Jellyfish. I don't completely mind that. The historically minded might detect in the title and character roster a questing hope that the inhabitants of the dorm are headed for greater things, just as the real-life Tokiwa So dormitory became a crucible for many talents in the 1950s manga business. Sakura Hall has the potential to offer its inhabitants a community of their own, where the more traditional recruiting grounds of school and the office have let them down. The creative staff under Atsuko Ishizuka certainly put their hearts into this work, paying it the entirely unmerited compliment of taking it seriously and passionately, despite its frankly creepy overtones. Ishizuka and her team deserve better, but really, so do we all. Do you want to, cite, instead of citing a random quote from Tomino of an artistic consciousness, do you want to cite the directors that you're talking about? They're like, oh, hun, you deserve better. Like, did they not like it? Did they like, yeah. And look, I get, directors are not necessarily going to be forthcoming about that, of whether they liked it or not, the things that they worked on. But, maybe they say something about the work that's insightful instead of whatever the hell you just said. I had such a crush on Sheena when Sakura So came out. I wonder if DuckDuckGo would have better results. I don't know. I am actually at a loss. I do love when Victor is baffled. It's fun. Oh, wow. Yeah, I kind of figured that. I kind of figured that from this article, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not as bowled over because I don't have as much of a connection to Pet Girl, but man, well, probably my least favorite so far of all their articles. Really, man. I'm sorry if I'm being a little too. I'm not as. I'm not sharing the rage. Ouch. I mean, I have my problems with the source material, but I do think Sakura has quite a few merits. Because again, it feels like they're taunting the premise. Let me read you their thing again about their assessment of this show. Because, you know, in reading it, it doesn't feel like they're taking the show for what it's worth or what it does. It's kind of just taking the premise of like a bunch of losers in this apartment complex, right? And it's not engaging with what it's trying to do. Let me read their I don't know if I have to read it to you again, but I remember watching Pet Girl because Sentai dubbed the anime after years of it being sub-only. Oh, okay. Am I the only person who thinks that this was intentionally very mean towards autistic people? Maybe? Oh no, that's not an issue. This article just came up as very offensive to me. Oh, okay. Probably because of the autism thing. Well, what to put here, fellas? The entire article? God. I'll just put it as negative. If you put Masonic Goku through a ruination machine, yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, feels like it. Oh, good. Now they're ableist. At least they're not racist. At least this article is coming off that way. I did just say that, but I'm walking that back. They're not full outright ableist. I'm not making any big accusation or something. But they are kind of making ableist sounding statements. I don't know. It's possible to say ableist things and not be ableist. Right? Pandering without pause to what Tomino has decried as an artistic consciousness. Worse? Even if it wasn't for the autistic coming, the whole "we deserved better" thing was pretty annoying. Like, come on, man. I know. Yeah. It's not pretty much the same thing about the show, so I understand how they could get that reading even if I do disagree with it. I was just thinking that. Yes. I remember looking at Snob's review of that show and being like, it sounded like he was just boiling it down to she's autistic, therefore bad or something. I don't want to generalize his review of it, but like, that was the vibe I remember. Gosh. Suggesting that every group of losers and no hopes has a redeeming feature or talent, and that quirkiness now includes borderline mental illness. Creative staff put their hearts in this work, paying it the entirely unmerited compliment of taking it seriously and passionately, despite its creepy overtones. The fact that you shouldn't take this thing like, they shouldn't have done such a good job. Why does it look so good? That was the same shit I was hearing about Onimai and Mushoku Tensei. Every art deserves to be taken seriously. If it's going to be broadcast on television, if your company is relying on this business, if that's your job, that's your job. Do a good job. That's it. There should be no ifs, ands, or buts about that. To complain that they did their job is stupid. I would ignore the autistic comment if they did not bring up Hugbox immediately after. What's up with Hugbox? That didn't raise any flags for me. I'm not familiar. And indeed, the idea of life in a fan-friendly hug-box, has been approached in a far better manner in works such as Princess Jellyfish. Having passion is a good thing. Yep, I would say so. Ishizuka and her team deserve better, but really, so do we all. Wow. Yikes. Well, any other feelings? I'm good. Pet Life from 2011. For some reason, this sucks. Fucking hentai. This sucks. This sounds like it sucks. Yeah, in this porn anime. A similar situation has been handled with substantially more maturity in Flowers of Evil. I would agree. I haven't even seen Flowers of Evil, and I'm familiar with that. But that just sounds like it sucks. And look, here I am, casting judgment on an anime based on its premise. And I understand that. Is it hypocrisy? Well, I'm not the one writing an encyclopedia about it. If you're gonna write about these titles, if you're gonna give them the time of day, you need to have a modicum of respect for them. But yeah, that's what I will say about that. It's like anytime somebody brings up Mushoku Tensei, the only thing people talk about is the main character's behavior before getting isekai'd. Or not even before getting isekai'd, but like I feel like it seems like their problem is that he stays that way for a little while after being reincarnated because like if he was in his perverted, neat lifestyle for so long, for however many years it was, those are not easy things to overcome. Those are addictions. So, like, of course he's gonna think that way when he's a baby. Like, not when he's a baby, but like when he's in the mind, when he's in the body of a newborn, and he keeps that consciousness and everything. Like, I don't know what they would have wanted. Like, what's the point of, like, you have this character and then he just loses his memory and he becomes a baby? Then it just becomes just a fantasy series. And there's nothing wrong with that, and I'm sure people would be okay. But no, I don't. That's the tension. That's the interesting twist here. It's the reincarnation. It's like from the perspective of somebody who is trying to actually restart their life, taking this as an opportunity instead of dying and living that having his miserable life end that way. He's getting another chance, but he still has those vices and flaws about his character to overcome. And it doesn't look like he's trying to overcome. Oh, I feel so bad for him when he looks like he's enjoying himself and everything. Vices are enjoyed things. And there's all sorts of rationale that people make to whatever about them. People have just made that all resources are from an imaginary pool. And because this thing is well animated, it means that something else must have suffered for it. Mm-hmm. It's always just, why can't my thing look this good instead? Yeah. Or why can't you adapt this thing into an anime? I hated Mushoku Tensei, but I dropped it when the 39-year-old tried to get up the skirt of the redhead, so don't expect a review. Yeah, so don't expect a review. That's exactly right. Just don't talk about it. Then it's like, yeah, not gonna bother. Absolutely. Now let's be real here. Is he 30? Yeah, he's 39 in the mind. But anyway, I haven't even seen MT and I'm defending it. I just like underdogs, I guess. I just like something that feels like a lot of people are against it. Instead of these universally acclaimed things that no one has any problem with, I have less motivation to talk or think about it or even consider watching it. Odd Taxi comes to mind. I'm sure that's like, it was an underdog at the time because like nobody had it on their radar because of its art style. And then it's like, oh shit, it's actually good, and the word of mouth really helped deliver it, and now it's getting like a movie and spin-off or something like that. That's a nice underdog story, but it's sort of like, I don't know. I wasn't front page of that sort of thing. And there's a bit of jealousy too with it, where I'm like, boy, I wish Mahojin Guru got something like that. Damn. Oh well. Whatever. Pet Shop of Horrors. I'll read this one out loud. In Chinatown, in a generic US city, on the Japanese release, New Type magazine claimed it as New York, but Animage and AX both noted the visual references to Los Angeles. Count D, a Fey Faustin pet shop owner, sells personified desires as pets to society's misfits, including a mother who refuses to accept that her own weak will turned her daughter into a drug addict, a fatherless husband who cannot admit he drove his bride to suicide, and a proud gangster who wants people to fear his power. Signing deceptively simple contracts, they discover that deals made with the supernatural should never be taken lightly. Leon, a loudmouthed cop who encapsulates several anime stereotypes of Americans, is convinced that the Count is up to something, but the Count is strangely welcoming and hospitable towards him. The horrors, quote-unquote, happen when purchasers ignore the strict instructions provided for the care of the unusual creatures they buy. Gremlins parallels are obvious. Old meets new and East meets West, not just in the mixture of mythologies, but in the mismatched central characters. Everyday laws cannot touch these criminals, but the Count cuts through the red tape and delivers punishment where Leon cannot, without fear or favor toward a would-be president, or even a child star prepared to sell his soul for adult fame. Though our wiseacre policeman is too boneheaded to realize it, the Count is on his side. transforming a story from a humdrum chiller into a moral X-Files, in which Hell's own angel teams up with an earthly cop to mete out peculiar justice. Matsuri Akino's original 1990 manga ran for over a dozen volumes in Mitsubishi Comics DX, and yet this 1999 TBS series was never planned as more than 4 episodes. Limited animation is bolstered by flashy effects from some big names including Doom Megalopolis director Rintaro on the opening animation, but the biggest mystery is why there was no more. Perhaps wisely, the show canceled itself before the, quote, sin of the week, quote, angle could become too predictable, compared to similar rough justice in Judge. Toshiro Harada and Kawajiri directing? What? I did not know that. Those are some big names. So the full series is directed by Toshio Harada. And it's written by Yasuhiro Imagawa? Giant Robo, Getter Robo Armageddon, Tetsujin 04 Imagawa? Yes, director and screenwriter. For Mobile Fighter, G Gundam, and everything. So Armageddon, he both wrote and directed. Tetsujin 28, he both wrote and directed. Holy crap. I had no idea it had that clout. There's the A and N. Okay, so Imagawa only did episode 1. It's got some other, but he did do the series comp. That's cool. So Kawajiri did episode 3. He didn't episode direct it, though. He did the storyboard. Harada did episode 1. Satoshi Nishimura. That sounds familiar. A lot of storyboard. Hajime no Ippo director. Wow. Good shit. Karakuri Circus. Really big key animator. Oh my gosh. Chief director on this OVA. Oh, okay. And the Trigun's Badlands Rumble movie, he was pretty significantly the guy. Wow. Ushio Totoro! Awesome! Yeah, you know what? I kind of got a similar vibe with Ippo. Now that I'm thinking about it, Ippo and the Ushio Totoro series, they do kind of have similar vibes. That's really cool. So he did episode 4, and then Hamasaki, this guy, did episode 2. I'll give him the credit. I have no idea who he is, but let's see who he is. Okay. This is like for his short stop the time, I guess. Okay. Blade of the... Yo, recently. Wow. Goku Midnight Eye character designer? Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, he's co-director on the Highlander movie with Kawajiri. Orange direct. Okay. Wasn't a big fan of Orange, but alright. It was just boring. Shigarui. I heard very good things about that from Mr. Cynical. Terraformers. Technolize. Let's fucking go! He did a storyboard for the OP, too. Wow. So Pet Shop got, like, some clout. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. I've always heard good things about it, but then I didn't realize it actually had some packed talent in it. I'd say they're positive about it. But specifically, it's a good compliment, actually. Sorry, I didn't read a lot. Giga and every other anti-tuber made a video on Taxi. Yeah. I love Legend of Gold Babylon, but most people seem to not like it. One of my favorite anime movies. That's good that you like it. I'm happy you like that movie. I'm one of the people that you were talking about. I didn't necessarily enjoy it. But I should maybe I'll watch it again. I was just very let down by the villain and the kind of twist that they do. Very, very Lupin. Very typical Lupin. It just sucks. And then the very ending is ridiculous. So I couldn't take it seriously. But that, again, a lot of that had to do with my perceptions of Lupin and the things, finding the things that I know I don't like about it and like about it. Toblerone. I remember hearing of this title first time thinking it was tied somehow to Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah, I do keep thinking that too. I love that show so much. It's a shame it didn't get a full adaptation. That show was really fun. One of the only animes I watched in French. Nice. I'm happy they actually mentioned Nakamura as the designer here. Although it's weird. I guess it's not the weirdest thing, but like, it is kind of weird actually. Because I'm pretty sure Tree of Palm was a thing by then. And Catnapped. No, so Palm, he didn't do Tree of Palm yet, and he obviously didn't do Fantastic Children by this time. It's unfortunate they didn't change it though for the 3rd edition. I'll put that down. It's not a huge deal, but Odd Taxi is a flop for me. I don't know why everyone loved it way too much recycled animation and dry talking. I don't necessarily mind that. Yeah, the talking's good. The characters are good. No, it's not really. before that. It is Petite Cosette. Cosette no Shozo, Le Portrait de Petite Cosette. Ugh. My back. I'm so close to finishing PE. Art student Eri Kurahashi works part-time in his uncle's Tokyo antique shop, where he finds an antique Venetian glass goblet in which he can see visions of a beautiful young girl with long blonde hair. Her name is Cosette d'Auvergne, and she's been dead for 250 years. She's looking for someone to help her, a man with the courage to risk everything, even his own life, to release her from her prison. Eri's friends start to notice he's acting strangely. Previously, his life has been bound up with his art, and though he has lots of female friends, there hasn't been a special girl. He becomes completely absorbed by his visions and fantasies, losing track of where his life ends and Cosette's begins. His best friend Shoko Mataki is so concerned that her aunt, the local doctor, gets involved, along with tarot reader Michiru and priestess Shakoto. Meanwhile, Yu, a young girl with latent talents and a secret crush on Eri, is drawn into Cosette's dangerous web. Her sweet face hides a calculating heart and an insatiable lust for vengeance. Eri can only free her by atoning for the betrayal of her former lover through a blood pact, swearing to love her and her alone, and taking on another's soul, compared to similar entrapment in Memories. Putting a gothic spin on both the harem show and the magical girlfriend theme reprised in Moon Phase the following year, Petite Cosette plays elegantly at darkness and foreboding. The 3 video episodes were edited together into a TV movie in 2005 based on the manga by Asuka Katsura and Magazine Z, part of the relatively recent gothic Lolita subgenre of anime based on the fashion fad of the same name, also found in Frozen Maiden and Moon Phase. I see, West. Do you guys remember that they linked Moon Phase in their Moon Phase article? Yeah, they totally were trying to have this. I see what happened. Yeah, like literally, this is their Moon Phase article. Part of the relatively recent gothic Lolita subgenre of anime based on the fashion fad of the same name, and also found in Petite Cosette and Moon Phase in their Moon Phase article. And then part of the relatively recent gothic Lolita subgenre of anime based on the fashion fad of the same name, also found in Rosen Maiden and Moon Phase. So let's check the Rosen Maiden article. Part of the relatively recent gothic Lolita subgenre of anime based on the fashion fad of the same name, also found in Petite Cosette and Moon Phase. So that's what happened. Soyu kotoka! They just copy-pasted and then forgot to switch the names. Oopsie poopsie. I want to make sure I put that somewhere. Okay, Moon Phase. They copy-pasted this in their Rosen Maiden and Petite Cosette articles. Forgot to change the name. Bless you. Thank you. There's always that one anime I just don't get. Snafu is another one. Lol. Copy me. Hey, I can't blame him. This is a big book. Ain't nothing wrong with bank animation, am I right, fellas? Don't complain about animation shortcuts if you're just gonna take your own shortcuts, right? I'm gonna write that down, actually. That's a bar. That's a bar. don't. Or say not don't, but shouldn't complain about bank or animation shortcuts. Similar shortcuts yourself. Is it a shortcut? I mean, when you make a mistake like that, it kind of ends up being like, interesting. Okay. I think that's kind of the extent of it, though. They do have an opinion on it, though. They did give. Putting a gothic spin on both the harem show and the magical girlfriend theme reprised in Moonface the following year. Yeah, okay. Plays elegantly at darkness and foreboding. Here's one that I know Hayden likes. Petite Princess Yusie from 2002. Yeah, they don't have it. This is the last. No, it's not quite the last. It's the last of the first book. We have 2 more PEs. 2 more PEs. Should be perfect, actually. I think that ending out 2.5 hours is actually kind of nice. Did they not mention Shimbo? No. Of course not. I wonder how many times they mention Shimbo in places not just the blurb at the top. 76 results for Shimbo. But let me look through them all. Akiyuki Shimbo. Director Shimbo's rap sheet. So they talk about him in And Yet the Town Moves. Partly thanks to Shimbo's gift for pacing, Shimbo's timing and cutting are all his own. They talk about him in Arakawa Under the Bridge. It's obviously comfortable with Shimbo. Nope, that's not. Takura Shimbo, Oi Shimbo, Akiyuki Shimbo. That's, blurbs. Chef of Oshimbo, Oishimbo, Takura Shimbo, Akiyuki Shimbo. Nope. Oh. They mention him in Eden of the East, I think. Yeah. Akiyuki Shimbo was on the crew as a supervisor for Eden of the East, as well as storyboarding under the alias Soji Homura. Combination of Shimbo and Shaft. They're talking about him in... Where is it? I'm just looking for which one it is. It's the whole thing. I have to it clicks onto the thing and it doesn't highlight anything. So I have to find it physically. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they talk about him in Dempa Onna, the Electric Girl and the Youth. They mention him. The combination of Shimbo and Shaft is virtually a guarantee of good looks. Akiyuki Shimbo directed the one-shot pop promo, and this is for Graduation. They mention him for Hidamari Sketch. He's often been associated with Shaft, where he also directed the surreal Petite Cosette. So they mentioned him about Petite Cosette, but not in the article itself. Goat. Also, UCA is Yushi. Okay. Yushi. It literally called, I would have called it that if that's how you spell it in the fucking Romaji. Come on. I think UCA kind of sounds cool, though. I'm not gonna lie. Yushi sounds alright. But, UCA is, icy. I would recommend Gosek. I think it's the best one of these shows I've seen to date. Oh yeah. UCA lives long ago and far away in a Rurinthian magical land with her foster father and the family's young but fiercely loyal butler Cube. Or Cube? Cube. She's 17 years old, but because of a magical curse, she looks like a 10-year-old girl, compared to Nanika 617. Her positive attitude makes her seem even cuter and perkier. She never lets anything get her down, although she desperately wants to look her real age and become a beautiful, elegant lady with a handsome husband of her own. She has the chance to make her dreams come true when she's chosen as a petite princess, one of the elite girls from many different realms who would be trained in the ways of femininity and elegance. If she can defeat the competition, she may even become the Platinum Princess and win the prize of a magic tiara that will grant her any wish. No prizes for guessing what Yushi's wish will be. Takami Akai, who created the Princess Maker game series in which Cube first appeared, isn't about to let a winning concept drop. Crashing the countless fairy tales of enchanted princesses into every little girl's impatience to acquire those arcane skills that define a grown-up woman, he's produced the finishing school version of Dragon Ball. Because they make wishes? Is that your connection? He's produced the finishing school version of Dragon Ball. Our heroine is trying to find her true self. Along the way, just like Toriyama's perky hero Son Goku, they are doubling down. They insist this is Dragon Ball, guys. Just like Toriyama's perky hero Son Goku, she makes loyal friends and converts former enemies to friendship. You like Princess Yushi? Watch Dragon Ball! You like Dragon Ball? Let's watch Petite Princess Yushi! Not a bad rec. Not a bad rec. I watched some of Yushi, and I would not make that comparison at all. Yeah. What? So every anime that has like a wish mechanic means it's like Dragon Ball? The most thinnest tie ever. More so, Princess Tutu? I mean, Tutu doesn't necessarily have doesn't have a wish mechanic, I don't think. But, like, it's also funny that they're like, it's just like Dragon Ball, guys. She makes loyal friends and converts former enemies to friendship. Yeah. Sounds like a cute show, though. Yeah, it does. It certainly does. I guess they don't really, give an opinion about it. Hell of a show to end on, I gotta admit. It's not a bad one to end on. Oh boy. Bruh, there is an Imayumi Ishii episode that has the most insane TV production that's akin to Ghibli ever, and you say Yushi is just like Goku. Bruh. Yeah. That's right, that's where that episode comes from. I cited that, I put that that clip in my Gurren Lagann video, I think. If I'm not mistaken. If it's the same one I'm thinking of. I would have compared Tutu's kind heartedness to Yushi's message. I just like calling it UCA. I don't care. I'll call it Yushi once like I've seen it, and it's like once you've seen Pat Labor, you're gonna call it Pat Labor. But like if you haven't seen it or it has been a while, or whatever, you call it Pat Labor. So I feel like sometimes I've called it Pat Labor. Sometimes, probably. Everything is Dragon Ball because everything is relative. I guess so. I guess we all learned a valuable lesson today. Boy. And then, like, on that freak chance, I'm not gonna seek this out, but I guess now that I'm saying it, I'm gonna put it out in the universe and it might happen. That, like, I run into Helen at Anime Boston. I'm not gonna engage, but, like, if she comes up to me and knows me and recognizes something and knows about this, then I'll just mention, like, yeah, you know, the book where you compare Petite Princess Yusi to Dragon Ball. And then I could just imagine the reaction is, oh, John wrote that article. Or something. I probably won't be able to think of any examples because I'll be just like, my mind will go blank. And just being like, that would probably happen. Whoa, to someone in the studios who worked with this. Gynax! You gotta hand it to Gynax. I really hope I never forget that. They're fucking Victor, did you see their, did you happen to catch me, talking about their article on panning and stocking? Oh my god. That one's funny. That one's a good one. But I really hope I'll never forget that line. That's such a quotable. You gotta hand it to Studio Gynax. Oh man. Actually, if you ignore all the differences, all anime is the same. Yeah, that's fair. Best Gynax for real. Anyone here who has not? I would go back. No, I sadly tuned in too late. I mean, all the, you know, I get it. I don't go back to, you know, it's all documented on the VOD. Thankfully, I have the VODs all saved. But let me read their panning and starking article for you real quick. I'll skip the synopsis. This is for those of you guys. We finished the reading, but let me just read this again. Okay, panning and stacking with garter belt. You got to hand it to Gynax, the makers of the sublime Wings of Honomiers, the adorable Secret of Blue Water, and the epic of negativity Evangelion, know two things better than almost anyone in the business: how to put their whole heart and soul into their work, and how to do potty humor. Whatever they do to excess, and the excess is the core of panning and stocking. One could allege this story has a feminist subtext, since the protagonists do exactly what they want all the time and leave others, often men, to clean up after them. To which we counter that a feminist subtext which chimes so exactly with the patriarchal dream of the bad girl is very probably a tart in vicar's clothing. You may have to leave aside the script, because the US dub is even less sophisticated than the Japanese, and either you snigger every time someone says bra and poop and whore, or you don't. But the most puritanical critic can't deny the dazzling visual invention or the saturation in the sticky fluids of pop culture that informs almost every frame. It looks as crude and cheap as it sounds, but it's as compulsive as a car crash and as clever as a perfectly timed pratfall into a pool of vomit. The title of the 2011 spin-off Panty and Stocking and Sanitary Box is on the same level of sophistication as the rest of the writing. Remember, as the great Dolly Parton once remarked, it costs a fortune to look and sound this cheap. 7 writers and 18 animation directors for 13 episodes, double and triple teaming to get every crap joke just right. That's the potty humor in Royal Space Force. Yeah. Honeymies, Nadia, and Ava to connect to Panty and Stocking. And not any of their other work that could have been remotely similar. Like, Fooly Cooley, Gurren Lagann, the same director. Even something a little more, like, scutsy, like He Is My Master, or fucking, is that the one? Is that the one they did? And, Mahoromatic or whatever. I heard Mahoromatic's good, okay? So don't lump the two together, I get it. You know? Well, at least they seem to have enjoyed it, yeah! Well, I actually gave it a mix, because, like, the closer I read to it, I was like, they actually don't really give, they say you can't deny the dazzling visual invention, excess is the core, we counter the feminist subtext, dub even less sophisticated than the Japanese, looks as crude and cheap as it sounds, compulsive as a car crash, 7 writers and 18 animation directors to get every crap joke just right. They're kind of derisive toward it. You should have referenced Dead Leaves or something. Oh yeah! Even if that wasn't Gainax. That would have been made much more sense than fucking Honeymies, Nadia, and Ava. One of the cutie honeys. Yeah. Yeah. Cutie Honey Ree specifically, but yeah. Alright. Gotta hand it to Studio Gainax. That's just gonna be my reaction to a lot of things. You gotta hand it to Studio Gainax. You know, just, even if it has nothing to do with the situation. Like, if it's just some random other, like, controversy or some other random thing, or some upsetting whatever. And it's like, oh, well, you gotta hand it to Studio Gainax. Yeah, read Cutie Honey, yeah. Oh my god. Well, closing that book. I think that'll do it. This installment of the Expedition of the Anime Encyclopedia. Spoilers! Oh yeah, put it up like that. I think that's it. I have to tell you, I got a lot of work to do in this project. There's a lot to sift through. And, you know, I really don't know how... I don't know how I'll do it, frankly. Take care, Shapes. I'm aiming for November, but at the very least, that's aiming to finish the reading in November. But I'm hoping during the summer, I can take some time when I'm not streaming. Since I'm not streaming, I can take some time, I don't really know. It can be hard to motivate myself to work on this project in that capacity other than streaming. But I'm hoping that summertime is times where I'm like, okay, let's actually write this script. I've read over half the encyclopedia now. So I could very well make the video right now. But I ain't like that. But I'm also not going to make the mistake that I did in my Naruto video where I didn't write a damn thing until I finished the show. That was stupid. I am going to start writing, but once I stop streaming. And there's this like, okay, I'm in this period where I gotta work on it on my own. Compile this data. Really bring what are the conclusions I want to bring and how do I use this data to justify those claims. Thanks for the stream. Gonna watch Lupin soon. Hell yeah. Thanks for the stream. Well, I won't hold you guys any longer. I said I'd stop, and then I will. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are great. I hope to see you Tuesday, ideally. Yo, peace.